Welcome to another edition of Fixed Ops Mastermind. Today I am joined by Liam Snell, who is the Talent Acquisition Partner at Holt Automotive Staffing. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Karl.
How has your month been?
Yeah, it's been busy. I've got a little bit of time off, which is a bit frowned upon in recruitment. But I've got some time at home redecorating next week, so we've been clearing everything out, and now everything's going in. So I'm going to be busy.
Sounds like fun and a lot of work all at the same time.
Yeah.
So, how did your background in motor insurance prepare you for recruiting in automotive?
Yeah, so when I was working in motor insurance, I used to spend a lot of time with customers. It was a very customer-facing job. A lot of them were only having to deal with things once a year. So they're not confident with it. They're not used to doing it. So they do get frustrated and they do get rushed. Um, my job really was to help calm them down and see them through the process, translate anything that was complicated into plain English for them, easy to break down and understand. Because if you don't if you don't understand it, they don't understand it. So you really had to explain it to me like I'm five, so I could explain it properly to them. So I was going through decisions that they're not used to making, guiding them through it, and that experience had really prepared me more for recruitment than I could ever imagine. Um, there was a guy actually who was my boss who come to work for Holt Automotive, had brought me across with him,
Okay.
and said it's exactly the same as what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very similar in a lot of ways. You've got candidates are not used to moving jobs that often. So it can be a bit of a nerve-wracking experience for them. As I'm sure you'll understand yourself as well, is hiring managers. Sometimes hiring is very on and off, so
Yeah.
not always used to that process as well. So it's been really nice and straightforward going from explaining a process to one set of people to another. And
Sure.
I'm a bit geeky in that way. I do like to break things down.
I was going to ask you, so what made you make the shift from customer facing insurance sales into talent acquisition? And do you think that that gives you a different approach to a typical recruiter or an advantage?
Um, I think with my time in insurance, we went from being very sales driven to what we called more systemic. So it was more about doing the right thing.
Hmm.
So it wasn't always about hitting targets and getting commission, because sometimes when that is the case, you do it, and then the next thing is that it? What am I going to do tomorrow? I've already done so much today, and I think when you get financially driven like that, you don't create a good impact. You can be seen as quite brash. You can be seen as being needy is probably the wrong word. Persistent in a bad way.
Sure.
I would probably probably put it, but it's it's little things like that, and as well the approach that I took, and it was you know you're dealing with people who are upset, have dealt with bad difficult things, can't keep payments up, things like that, and it's the same with candidates on the other side. They go through bad times. In particular, there's one instance where you really have to I think I mentioned it before, show a lot of empathy to
Hmm.
people in both careers. There's people that have been unemployed, and I know that we do get stories where people have been unemployed for a certain amount of time. But as just going back, there was one instance where I had a guy who was caring for his wife for a few years, who unfortunately his wife passed away. So I won't mention any names to keep his identity safe. But finding him a job after 3 years was really emotional. You stop thinking about the money, and it's more again doing the right thing. When you get people saying thank you, I've got my life back on track, it's a real turnaround, and that's what shapes my style now. Is I'm very empathetic. towards people, and I still am very disciplined from the sales side of it. But you have to slow things down sometimes and just do what's right.
All right, we all know about warranty nightmares. Automotive Warranty Network Incorporated. If your warranty process still involves sticky notes, tribal knowledge, and late night claims rejections, you're leaving money on the table. Automotive Warranty Network Incorporated brings clarity, compliance, and cash flow to your warranty game. They speak fluent OEM, and they've got your back. Hey, I want to encourage you to take a visit over to our partner, Target Automotive, target.com. That is great until you're drowning in it. Target turns that chaos into clarity with dashboards that actually make sense. Fixed ops leaders finally get what they need: real time, drill down insights without the spreadsheet migraines. It's not just business intelligence, it's Target.
Yeah, no, I believe that 1,000% for sure. From a
Mm,
customer standpoint, from an employee standpoint, from a
mm,
vendor partner standpoint. I mean, we all have things outside of what we're doing, and working together to accomplish the ultimate goal, and be doing it together is really rewarding. And I will say, by the feedback that I've seen from your customers and others that have worked with you,
mm.
they are constantly saying that you've built a reputation to be responsive, full of empathy. Is that something that you think you've learned over time, or something that you developed, or do you think it's something that's somewhat natural to you?
I think it's definitely something I've developed over time. I think everyone is I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm far from it. But in those years, you have no empathy, and life comes at you quick, and then all of a sudden, it it changes fast. I think I've definitely become more empathetic as I became a father. So I've got two girls at home and a dog. So you do have to be more empathetic, and it's
Yeah.
it's tough being a girl dad. I don't know if you've got children yourself, Kyle, but it's tough.
I have a boy and a girl, and I will tell you, yeah, there's empathy, and then there's also fear. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
how old they are. My son just started college this week, and
Okay.
my daughter is a sophomore in high school, and I'll
Mm.
tell you, I think I'm more nervous now than I ever have been. It just continues to become more
Wow.
challenging. But yes,
Yeah.
I definitely see where you're coming from.
So I've
Um,
I've got one that's just started school and one who is starting school in a couple of weeks.
oh
So
boy,
it's yeah, I'm at that stage still, but it's I do fight again with that empathy. Is I now care about things I never thought I would,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the
for
things that I
sure.
used to care about don't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's not about you;
Yeah,
it's about everybody else. It's about them, and
exactly. Yeah.
what comes first, for sure.
Hmm.
Which kind of loads us into, so we talk about culture and fit quite a bit.
Hmm.
How do you balance the urgency of needing to fill the role for your client, and making sure that you have the right integrity and the right person to match the role that you're trying to fill?
Yeah, I mean, I get people who call me for long-term projects. I get people that call me for short-term fixes. I have built myself a bit of a reputation of being a bit of both. I've worked, especially in the UK in recruitment, a lot of what I did was long-term projects,
Mhm.
and then some very quick fixed-term temporary fixes as well. I mean, I've had a dealership call me in a panic before. We need somebody in 2 days. We're going to fall behind, and it's tempting just to send the first half decent person that you find. Um, but you've got to still treat it as that long term prospect. I know you need to fill this job in 2 days, but what kind of person are you looking for to fit your culture long term?
Sure.
And you end up finding people when it doesn't always take 2 days. You know that sometimes it takes minutes, sometimes it may take a week. Um, but you find people that don't just fit the technical ability. They need to have good temperament, and I've spoken to a lot of people about this lately, temperament of employees, and they get people in for fast paced turnaround,
Hmm.
and it doesn't work out because they come in there. Uh, in this particular instance, they were quite aggressive with, why am I doing this? Why don't I do this? And that's not what you're there for. You're a new employee.
Right.
There's a game to be played, isn't there, within the dealership world, and you've got to be in the game, because if you're not, you'll soon be out of the door again, and then that
Absolutely.
leaves them in the same situation. But luckily, yeah, we found someone who was a good fit, calm, steady. If we rushed, we probably would have found them the wrong person. Like I said, it didn't take a couple of days, and then it would have been my reputation on the line as well. Like,
Sure.
there's a lot to think about. Like you said, I'm not just thinking about yourself. I know what I just said sounded like I was thinking about myself, but it was more thinking long term. Who's going to fit that culture long term? And
Yeah.
you have to balance urgency, I think, with integrity sometimes.
Sure. Do you find that you have, from a candidate standpoint, do you have a list that you're working off of that, when that role comes up, they come right to mind?
Yeah, of course. And I think, like, I don't want to give away too many secrets of the trade, otherwise I'll be out of a job. But there's certain funnels. So there's, I like to well qualify jobs. I need to know who else works there, why the last person left, um, ins and outs of the dealership. I quite often ask people for photos and videos of the dealership, just so I can get a feel for the place if I'm not there. As you can tell by
Sure.
my voice, I'm not always in the States. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things. So I like to have a funnel. So there's certain things I like to do. We have a database. We find people on that database. So you and I think, just going through the levels of this funnel, a lot of people only see the end of it. They see the the placement. What they don't see is the 2,000 people that I've emailed and text,
Right.
and the 400 people who have responded, and then those out of those 400, maybe 100 good people. And this is just one funnel through our database. This happens at different points. Out of those 100 people, there may be 20 people that are good enough. Out of those 20 people, you may only want to see four of them, and out of those
Right.
four, you might only hire one. So, it's that's how we like to do it.
Makes sense. So, staffing on its own touches a lot of different positions, whether it's tech, service, management, sales. So, how do you adapt your strategy, depending on what, type of professional you're looking to fill?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely learned from mistakes. I have, especially going from the UK to the US. You need to hit the ground running. So you go into your default mode. I learned very quickly that was not how to do it. Um, but I like I said, I learned from my mistakes. I've tried to pitch a service advisor a role the same way I would pitch a technician a role, and the same way I would pitch a manager a role. Complete misfire on my part. It doesn't really work like that. The technician doesn't care about the money side so much. To a degree, he doesn't need a breakdown
Mhm.
of every way he's going to make money. He just needs to know he's going to make money.
Sure.
Whereas a service advisor is a bit more. I don't know if you've ever heard of like flying colors. They're a bit more of a blue, in the sense that they need to know everything.
Yeah,
So they need to know a bit more. And then obviously a manager, again, differently, it's all about leadership, style, vision, the growth opportunities. Some technicians don't care about that. Some service advisors don't care about that. Some managers definitely care about that.
for sure.
Um, so it's almost like switching languages. Now I can only speak English, but I think it is a different language between a technician, an advisor, a sales consultant, a fixed ops director. You have to speak to them differently, and you have to
So,
adapt to that.
So have you had to learn different terms from the UK to the States, as
Yeah,
far as, saying the right things so that it's understood depending on what the role is?
Yeah, absolutely. It took me a long time, a couple of phrases that threw me out straight away. I couldn't get used to saying dollars. That threw me out for a while. So a lot of people were putting the phone down on me straight away. Um, the other term that I learned very quickly was flat rate. So
Yeah,
again, I've learned from my own mistakes. I've qualified jobs. How much do you pay? We pay $30 an hour. Um, and in my mind, oh, great. How many hours do they work? 45 hours a week. Okay, $30 an hour by 45 hours. This is how much they make.
right,
Obviously, flat rate does not mean that at all.
right.
$35 is for the hours worth of production that they do, which I have now learned and I can explain very well.
Practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still learning.
As we all are. I think the big thing for me in my career is always every day I'm trying to learn as much as I possibly can about our business and what it does, and how we can be
Hmm.
better serving of our people, and obviously our clients, because without them
Yeah.
we're nothing. So
Yeah.
that consistent learning has to happen. Otherwise, like you said earlier, we'd be on the outside looking in, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
from a learning standpoint as well, before our call, I was on a call with a service manager for an independent store. We weren't talking about work. We were just talking about the industry, and he was telling me what he thought and why certain people are leaving. I don't know. I put a post out on LinkedIn recently about um, why are people turning away, what they're saying. He come back to me and he told me exactly what he thought, and that's a really good thing to know. He's an ex-technician, so I know in their mindset where things are going wrong.
right.
Um, so like I said, learning every day.
Yeah, and it helps you be able to guide the conversation when you have a new candidate or
Oh yeah.
another client that's looking to fill a role.
Hmm.
Speaking of filling roles, can you think or about a specific placement that you have made that between that just went above and beyond just, hey, this is the skill set, and it transformed both the store and the person?
Yeah, absolutely. I think going back to the beginning where I mentioned about a candidate who was caring for his wife um, for a while, and going through all of the trials and tribulations of that, it's uh, it's sad. Most employers would overlook somebody like that, but I needed in that instance to really sit them down, go through their skill set, see how they are. And this individual, you can tell he's trying to get back into the job market. So his resiliency was low, but he's getting back into it.
Sure.
His resiliency was building with every conversation that I was having, and he went from someone that kind of lost his life,
Right.
lost his wife. You know,
Yeah.
it's and to get them into a position, in a management position, in particular, where they were low of confidence. Like I said, they were building that resiliency back up, for them then to turn around to me and say that they feel like they've got their life back on track.
Right.
Unbelievable for me. I don't care how he performed in store. Knowing that I've had that impact, it means a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one that you take home and always remember. I think
And they're still employed to this day. I still keep in touch with them too.
so. It's worked for everybody. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me ask you, talent trends, they change fast. What's one shift in candidate mindset that you're seeing right now in the recruiting side? Is it money? Is it I want more time? What's the mindset?
It's funny, you mentioned that, because that actually leads back to the conversation that I was having earlier on. So, from a technician standpoint, people, what they want more money. It's an expensive world, especially post COVID. It's everyone is vying to get that top dollar,
Hmm.
but but it's difficult to do that. A lot of resumes I see, and probably resumes you've seen as well, is people jump around to find the best money. Um, I think the reason why we see that trend is the world, especially in the States, has moved so quickly with
Mhm.
the changing of presidents and tariffs and things like that. People are now aware that they can move, they can change their levels of pay. One thing I especially see is flat rate pay. It's been the standard for years, and the more hours you book, the more hours you earn.
Mhm.
It works in busier times. When things slow down, it doesn't work as well, and you find a lot of people trying to leave the dealership world and find something maybe in diesel work or even construction where they get paid hourly.
Sure.
Um, it's you don't like seeing your money drop. Um, and that's the case for a lot of technicians I speak to. There's a lot of instability and around flat rate, and I'm a fan of flat rate. I think it works and it teaches people to work hard.
Mhm.
um, I love it for that reason, and I wish that they did it in the UK as well. But people, they need that stability. um, and I know some dealerships offer a hybrid level of pay,
Yeah.
where you still get paid, but I think that mindset shift is slowly changing. Because some people, I deal with a couple of dealerships in Virginia who do offer just a standard hourly rate, but then they do pay them production, but their base pay is not on that production, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's
They're given a salary, and then
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, like I said, well, it's not just candidates that are changing. The industry is changing with tariffs, and you have some manufacturers in trouble and new people entering the game all the time. I think Rivian, for one, are so in and out, same as Tesla,
Mhm.
so in and out with hiring people, firing people, and people don't get that money anywhere else, so they go somewhere else for flat rate.
Right.
Then they find that, oh, I'm not actually earning as much. I'll go and find another job at a different Tesla store. Then that store closes. It's just typical if that's where the world is now.
Do you think that it's from your side recruiting? Is it your responsibility to lay out the flat rate and what the expectation is for the technician, or is it really on the client that's hiring you to be able to say what they can provide? Because ultimately, isn't that on them and not you?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think there has to be an expectation provided by us, as recruiters, to kind of say to these guys, hey, I can get you $50 an hour, but I need you to know you're going to have to work hard to maintain that, because the work might not always be there. So when there is work, you have to really give it your all. And I think there's some people that are afraid of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, some dealership groups, they may not, and you'll probably see this from a lot of job adverts. There's no salary posted.
Right.
There has to be a transparency there, whether it's you you post it on your job ad, or you all tell me and I
Right.
can do it. It's one of those things. You have to be transparent with it, I think, for sure. And it falls, especially on recruiters, because I think in the States, I think recruitment gets a bit of a bad rap, um, for being very like linear. I'm going to get you. I'm going to put you there. It's and it's not always like that, and it shouldn't be like that. So I think there's a lot of distrust in recruiters, which is why they're not told the salaries. People don't like telling recruiters how much they make, um, and everyone's just got to kind of pile together and make it happen.
Yeah, I
There's
think
definitely responsibility from everyone.
yeah, I mean, transparency is the number one thing that you can control, right? So if you're transparent and you're given the accurate information, then you should be able to get accurate information back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think all parties involved. If I'm hiring you to recruit for me, you need to have all the
Hmm.
facts in play. That way, there when you are getting me candidates, they make
Mm.
sense, and we're not
Yeah, of
wasting each
course.
other's time. And then on the other end of it, if I'm not giving you what's going to happen, that person that you've now landed with me when they're looking for their next position. They're not calling you because they're like, well, hell, that didn't work the last time. So all it does is hurt
Yeah,
all of us. So yeah, I would say
yeah,
transparency
exactly.
across the board is the most important thing.
Where do you see the state of recruitment at the moment? It would be interesting to know from your point of view if you feel that there's a distrust in certain things and the way things are done. Because I bet you get 1,000 people a day contacting you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people out there that'll hit you up in your LinkedIn profile and hey,
Hmm.
I have this opportunity, or hey, I can fill that opportunity. I think much like any of my other vendor partners that I have out there, it's about making sure that we are on the same page. We have the same goals. I want you to be a great advocate for me,
Hmm.
and then me for you.
Yeah,
So
of
I
course.
think I think you're 100% right. I think there's folks out there that have
Mm.
uh, great reputations like yourself. I mean, it's not hidden, and the ones that are true and show empathy and care and are not just trying to fill
Hmm.
a role so that they can,
Hmm.
you know, click a checkbox. Those are
Yeah.
the ones that are going to succeed. I will
Hmm.
say that there's still a little too much. It's the way we've always done it, so it's a comfortability
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
I want to be able to hold you accountable, and I want you to be able to hold me accountable. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
that's
We're extensions of each other's business.
100%, hundred
Yeah.
percent. I mean,
Yeah.
if things are going well for me, I'm going to promote you, and when somebody says, "Hey, I need to fill a role," this is who I want to call.
Mm. Yeah.
But I think what I'm trying to learn now is that there is a lot of differences, and I'm curious. If you could tell me maybe the three biggest differences between recruiting in the automotive business in the states and the UK. What eh,
Yeah.
what's the big difference? Because I'm the podcast now for me is let's get together so we can be great together, and I want to
Yeah.
learn what's going on throughout the world
Yeah.
to
Of course.
be able to take the things that are going well in other countries and things that are going
Yeah.
well in our country and be able to
Hmm.
use them all together to make all of us better. So I'm curious
Yeah. Mm.
what your thoughts are there.
Definitely for one, I would say is speed of delivery, and it's something that we've always um, prided ourselves on, and it's probably easier from you know English person to English company.
Sure.
Uh, Whereas I find with some companies there is a long process, and I know you guys you do your interviews and drug screenings and background checks, and as we do here as well. That I think a lot of the difference is, for an example, in the UK when I did my recruiting in automotive, I could have somebody's resume sent, interview, and drug test the same day, and start the next day.
Wow.
that's a that's a huge thing over here is the speed
Yeah.
of how quickly you can hire, and sometimes it doesn't work out, but it's I think that also comes with the reputation. I had some really great clients here where we would do recruitment days together, and the people that I was finding for them, I was going to the assessment days with them. So they also do assessment days. So an interview process could be 2, 3 hours long, but everything gets done in that day. You get offered the job in that day and you start ASAP. Obviously, we our notice periods, and this is probably difference number two, is the notice period. So in the States, it's typically 2 weeks,
Sure.
whereas in the UK, it's 4 to 8 weeks
Oh
because
wow.
I think in the States, a lot of companies pay weekly or bi-weekly,
Yes.
whereas here it's either weekly or monthly.
Okay.
Um, and some people get those production bonuses paid out on a quarter, so they
Hmm.
don't want to leave because they'll lose their bonus. So the speed is definitely one. Um, I think, well, especially for me, the second thing is being able to get out and see you guys. It's a lot more difficult to do it from when I'm in England. I mean, I was recently in Charlotte, North Carolina. Had a great time there with some clients, saw some good sites, met some great people. Looking to go back, we've got offices opening up shortly in Florida. We're looking at Texas as well, um, where our boss already has his own office set up there, so he's over there too. But yeah, that's going to be a big, definitely a big game changer, because I think people trust a face more than they trust a voice.
Sure.
And being in front of somebody is so important. And the third one, I'm not really sure. It's probably that change in pay, as I mentioned, is everything is hourly here. But it'll be hours, time by the number of hours, time by weeks in a year. So it's very straightforward how much money you're going to earn. You
Hmm.
know if you're going to be paid 50 grand a year as a
Right.
basic, whereas I think in the dealership world, especially for a technician, you you might earn 50 grand, you might earn 100 grand.
Right.
So I think is well, we're just going back to that, is in the UK, service is seen as very important. In the dealership world, service is sort of at the forefront, and it's probably the politeness of English people, is, it's that customer service based role, whereas in America um, it's a lot more turnover based, is in money wise. So sales is at the forefront, and that's great. And in the UK, it's service based. It's more about the aftercare, which I'm not saying it's not in the States,
Sure.
but I think in the UK people care more about the service that they've received, and that's what creates the repeat business. I suppose you'll probably get people that come and buy a car and you never see them again. Whereas
Sure.
I can tell you, my mechanic I go to, and I've gone to 4 years, because he's there for me when I need him.
Sure.
I've followed him around wherever he's worked,
Yeah.
and I think it's probably a bit tougher to do that in the States, probably because you're so big.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, we're definitely sales focused and fixed in a lot of
Mm.
ways. Unfortunately, takes the back burner. But if you talk to people that have come up on the fixed side, we say sales sells the first one and we sell the next five. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I think depending on the group and depending on, the philosophy, it's encouraging to hear that that's the way that it is over there, because
Mm.
I agree. Coming up from the fixed side,
Yeah.
I believe, we obviously are seeing the guests more often. So,
Hmm.
where, if they're enjoying the experience, then they're going to buy the car. But,
Yeah.
so,
The wages themselves are a lot lower in the UK as well.
yeah, I imagine here. I think, it's kind of a flat rate really has exploded it, right? Because
Mm.
the question mark of, are the hours available, who's going to earn them, and how are we going to get there, kind of determines it. But yeah, I could definitely see that. So let me ask you, if you could wave a magic wand and fix one persistent challenge that hiring people face today, what would it be, and why do you think?
Um, this is probably on a personal standpoint, and I've gone back to it. It's the I'm not sure if you would call it a communication gap, but this there again goes into the distrust in recruiters. I think, is you can send a resume, you can so you'll send the resume, and then the manager will be like, "Great, what's their number?" Which is fine. Like you said, if that's the way you do it, that's the way you do it. We'll find a way that works, but it's that, so there's a communication gap there, because then the feedback loop kind of closes there, which is where we like to operate with, is in those gaps.
Sure.
Um, I've had people that have interviewed and 5 weeks later been offered a job, but 3 weeks before that they've been written off. They're not a great fit, and then they come back to me a few weeks after that. Oh, actually, we've decided that we want to hire them, and it raises a question. So with the communication gap, was why were they not a good fit then, but they are a good fit now?
Sure. Or vice versa.
It's some Yeah, yeah. I bet, but silence is more damaging than rejection. It's better to hear and I used to shy away from this a lot, and this is kind of that learning curve for me. Was I was very client focused. I would, if you said jump, I would say how high, kind of thing. I
Sure.
was waiting for you to tell me, and not so much me coming to you, which I think I had that flipping mindset, which makes it a lot quicker and better. Um, I've had people, like I said, I think the term would be they've been ghosted by clients
Yeah.
without any feedback,
Yeah.
and I've had to push and push and push and push and push. And again, that goes back to the difference with the speed.
Yeah.
I think I'm and again, it's only my personal opinion. I'm so used to that fast paced, whereas sometimes it's not so much there in the States because you guys are busy, and I know that, and I know from working with fixed ops directors, it's hard to tie you guys down sometimes. But if I could fix one thing, it would just have timely communication, like set a timeline. They're going to interview. I'm going to do this. Then you're going to give me feedback. Then I'm
Right.
going to go to them. I'm going to find out if they want the job, and then you're going to give me the next steps. That's how I try and work it with my clients now, and that was through years of getting it wrong.
Right.
But you have to get it wrong to get it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quick break in the action. Let's talk parts. Yeah, that corner of the dealership most people don't look at until there's a fire. Parts Edge helps you clean up that mess. Smarter inventory, better margins, and no more guessing games. It's like giving your parts manager a crystal ball, except this one actually works. Spiffy. You can manage your mobile appointments, optimize your service routes, track inventory, and process payments, all with Spiffy, and you can learn more at spiffy.com. You ever wish you could inspect every car like a tech with x ray vision? UVI is like an MRI for your car. UVI doesn't miss a thing, scans the tires, the underbody, body panels, and wheels for scuffs in seconds, giving your team instant, actionable intel without slowing down the lane. That's not the future. That's UVI, and it's live in stores today.
I think, what I pick up most from there is communication. And
Mm.
if we're not great at communication, then none of us can get our jobs done right. But, from a standpoint of client to a vendor, like I find that, the vendor partners in some cases are complacent or worried about, am I going to lose the client if I actually say how I feel. When it comes
Mm.
to my partners, I tell them straight out, listen, if something that I'm saying or doing or whatever is not making sense, stop me.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and shoot me straight, let me know what the story is, because I'd rather make sure that I have somebody that's with me than somebody that's just agreeing with anything that I say. So
Yeah.
bravo
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't a particular right way or wrong way of doing recruitment, but you don't need to reinvent the wheel. It just needs to be smoother.
Yeah, yeah. Just find a way to make it all go the way we need it
Mm.
to
I mean,
go.
you work with cars. You don't need me to tell you how to make a car move. So,
Just find a way to make everything more efficient. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah,
So,
definitely.
what legacy do you see your recruiting shaping over the next decade for both talent and the teams that hire them?
Yeah. Oof. Well, I know, I know from my time in insurance that I'm still spoken about in those circles in a good way. I've been told in a good way. There's no publicity is, you know, is even bad publicity is good publicity. But I would like to think in 10 years' time, I still want to be recruiting in the States. I should say I want to be. I will be still recruiting in the States, um, and I don't want people to think of me and my legacy as, oh, who's that English guy who filled that role 5 years ago? Let's give him a call. I want people to be like, Liam's helped us shape our business. He changed the way that we looked at recruitment. Um, and if I can do that and help find tomorrow's fixed ops directors and VP of sales, and and VPs themselves, the mentors in the dealership world, I know that I've left something behind, um, because those people will ultimately go on and change dealerships and to a degree change lives. So I would like that to be my impact. In short, I want people to remember me for the work that I've done, not that I do work.
I love it. I love it.
Mm.
The founder of Fix Ops Mastermind, Dave Foy,
Mm.
has coined the phrase, wanting to leave automotive better than we found it. And the way that you just
Mm.
described that is exactly what we're trying to do.
Oh,
Everybody,
good.
everybody working together for the same common goal, which is to make us all better. And if we do all of that, when we're done, people will remember us for exactly that. The work and
Yeah,
and the care that we put forward to the people around us and our clients. Um,
yeah,
so let me ask you: you have a free evening. What's your go-to
yeah.
for disconnecting? What's the go-to for Liam?
Well, recruitment doesn't really stop, and especially if you think, at the moment, I'm in the UK right now,
Mm.
so I know when we originally were going to talk, it was going to be much later in the day, so it would have
Yeah,
been like midnight here. So, like I said, it never sleeps. But to really unwind, I used to play a lot of rugby, which helped me unwind, but since having kids, I can't really do that anymore. There's only so many times I'd be sent to the hospital and get away with it.
right.
Um, but unwinding is for me is I enjoy spending time with my kids. I enjoy spending time with my family. If it's not too dark by the time I get home, I'll walk the dog. My partner, she often wakes up for me, so it's always great. Like, and that's my unwinding is I go home and I see them.
Yeah,
And then it's kind of like any pressure from a tough day is just
gone.
gone. So
How
I wouldn't say so much that I switch off, but the pressure is just gone.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of time to remember what you do it all for. When you get home,
Yeah,
and you get to see the little ones and your partner, and it just makes you smile and say, "Hey, today was good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter now because I'm here with you." So, man,
yeah. I mean,
that's awesome.
if you asked me that question 5 or 6 years ago, it would have been a different answer.
Of course, I think that's the same for almost all of us.
Yeah,
Once you have a significant other and children, then yeah, everything just changes. Um,
yeah, absolutely.
so let me ask you one last question. So the what do you think the best non-industry lesson you've carried into recruiting is? I know you kind of talked about that engagement
Ooh,
with customers, but is there something specific that you carried in that has given you the be all, if you will?
that is a really really good question. Um, it's probably and this again is coming from a sports background. I used to play a lot of football or soccer. Sorry,
No,
soccer.
you're good.
I used to
You're
play a lot
good.
of soccer.
You're good.
Especially with and this really and this is one of the reasons I loved playing rugby so much. Was there's a saying in rugby, and I'm sure you guys have the saying in American football and other sports or basketball is we get up and we go again.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. It sure does. Get
Mm.
knocked down, get
And it's
back up.
probably exactly, and it's especially from rugby because a lot of rugby is you're in it, and
Yeah,
it's get up, go again. You get up, you go again. You get up, you go again. And I think when you really instill that into your mind, it builds so much resiliency, and it's something I definitely I fall back on a lot. Is days can get tough, but when they do, you get up and you go again.
I love it. I
Mm.
absolutely love it. Well, I appreciate your time, and I know I got you up late here, and I know.
No, it's not too bad now. It's only it's 7:50
Oh,
in the
it's not
evening now.
terrible. All right, so now you grab.
So it's nice and early now.
So is it dinner and time for some tea?
Yeah. So probably pull a couple more hours in the office and then head home.
and
I
then get
like how
ready.
you said tea as well.
You know, I know how important that is to you guys. So, but man, I appreciate the time and what you bring to the industry, and I look
Thank
forward to
you.
many more conversations and having you back on again.
Yeah,
It,
absolutely.
it was an awesome
Hopefully.
conversation, and good luck remodeling and having all that stuff going on. But appreciate the time for sure, man.
No, I appreciate it as well. Thank you very much, Carl.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Thanks.